According to the Sydney Morning Herald has a report, Science Minister Greg Hunt tells CSIRO to maintain pure public good science. After months of turmoil at CSIRO, Science Minister Greg Hunt has stepped in with a new statement of expectations for the organization. Mr. Hunt hopes that it will be the body and the path to being on the world's premier public research institution. Oh boy. In the article it says this is only a legal document of Greg Hunt's promises. In the bullet points that Greg Hunt has said in his paper article, those are only legal promises. They are not a long-term solution. Now, what does this mean altogether? It means that Greg Hunt is going to, and the coalition, not to mention Labour, are going to cut funding for CSIRO even further down the line. Ultimately, they plan to merge it with another public research institution. Now, on paper, that seems quite good. I mean, yes, why won't we? Or why wouldn't we want to make sure that CSIRO works for the public good? The problem is CSIRO has always worked for the public good. It has maintained that during the Paul Keating years, during the Howard years. But over time, over the last decade, since the Rudd government, since the Gillard government, and since the Abbott and Turnbull government, CSIRO has had its funding cut immensely. I believe what was the funding cut? $3 billion over the last 2 years, and they've only recently started to hire 20 staff members over the next 4 years. Read that, 20 staff members. Now, this is quite bad, and because Australia already has issues with its climate change response. I believe it is the second worst developed country in the world, and the fifth worst the G20 country when it comes to combating climate change. So we've been compared to America at this point, which has just elected Donald Trump. Furthermore, CSIRO was a leading premier in science research. So why has the government decided to cut so much of the climate change reaction or people that make the policy? Well, first and foremost, it goes against the interests of the coal mining industry and the mining industry in general. In 2010, after Gillard was forced to institute a carbon tax, the mining industry revolted and decided to back the coalition once again, combined with the Murdoch smear campaign by certain news stations such as Fairfax, such as news.com.au or News Corp. This has ultimately resulted in Julia Gillard and the Rudd government being toppled. The government has been cutting so much on science, on education, on the founding pillars and principles that allow Australians, especially young Australians, to elevate themselves. There was this one article the other day from the Sydney Morning Herald about how they're cutting and forcing younger generations to pay more tax than older generations, especially baby boomers. Look, I'm sorry, but it's just really, really tragic how much and how everything is being destroyed and dismantled. I am literally asking everybody to try and do as much as possible. Why do you think I am making this channel? I'm sorry if I'm going on a rant, but it's like Napoleon's quote. Had France been ruled under a better king, I would have died an unknown captain in the Mediterranean. I wouldn't be doing this, and I wouldn't be making this channel if there was actually any semblance of hope or future change in Australia.